Computer. All right, good deal. All right, well, look, thanks everybody for joining the call this afternoon. You don't know me, my name's Craig Wiggins. This is Brad Bearden. We've got Greg Blanchard, Justice Slocum, and Allie Donor on the call, and we'll talk more about with them all throughout the call. But I wanted to do something that was positive, right? There's just been like so much negativity in the world over the last year, and we're starting a new year. 2021's here. It's been underway for a month or so, and we've been working really hard behind the scenes to try to deliver as much content, as much value as we can. That's what we're going to talk about today in terms of all the things that we've been working on and what we're going to do to support you and your team in 2021. But also just want to talk about, what we need to be excited about, what we need to have some positive energy about, because again, everything has been so negative for the last year or so. And I get some of it is probably warranted with everything going on, but you know what? I think that we have a lot to be excited about and that we need to focus on that. Those of you that know me, it's all about focus on what you can control, right? Let's worry about that. Let's not worry about the other stuff. And I get that there's been a lot of changes in our industry and a lot of changes with the companies. Most of you are with Allstate. There's been a lot of changes with Allstate over the last, couple of years. And what we can control is how we respond to that and how we deal with that. And that's not going to be something that just stops. They're going to continue to make changes as they see fit. And we just got to roll with it. We got to figure out how to adapt and evolve to that to make sure that we're all successful. And I really think it first starts with having some freaking gratitude for where we really are. When I think about a lot of my friends here in Alabama and a lot of people around the country that are in other businesses that really struggled in 2020, and a lot of them, frankly, just went out of business. And if they're still hanging on now, they will probably, a lot of those people are going to go out of business this year because they're not where we are. And I just think we should be very thankful for that and have a lot of gratitude that we're in a position where we can compete with all this other stuff going on and really like embrace that and think about that a little bit differently. Start replacing I have to with I get to, right? So many people are so, I have to do this or I have to do that. Well, let's look at it as we get to do. We're fortunate that we have the privilege to do a lot of the different things that we're doing and working through adversity and working through whatever it might be. And that really anything worthwhile, there's going to be some adversity to work through to get to that other side. So maybe think about changing your perspective on some things and trying to make it more about the positive in life. Look through the clutter, find the opportunity, focus on that, and let's go get that. And today, like in this call, what are some things that we can do with some intent, to make that a reality, to make that happen? The first thing is I think you just got to make good decisions. It all starts with your choices and your decisions. Everybody on this call, you are where you are because of the choices and decisions that you made in life. And you have to own that. It's nobody else's responsibility, right? It's not the president, it's not the economy, it's not your parents, it's what you have chosen to do. And the great thing about that is if you don't like where you are, if you don't like what's going on, then you have the power to make different choices and make different decisions. And I'll give you a very personal example involving myself. Some of you already know about this, but last summer, July 17th, I made a decision that I wanted to lose some weight. One of my neighbors over at the lake made a little joke about me, and it was an innocent joke, but it still pissed me off. And I wasn't mad at him. I was mad at myself for being in a position where he could say something like that. He basically told me he didn't think I had the ability to break a sweat. We're over there trying to get some work done, and he made that little joke. And it just flew all over me. And that day I'd been eating like crazy, been drinking, doing whatever I wanted to do, just gorging myself. And then he makes this comment. I'm like, all right, so right now this has to change. This has to stop, and I'm going to fix this. And frankly, it was easy to do that in the moment because you have that motivation, like a lot of different things people decide about. The hard part is as things progress and the motivation's left, and now you got to keep making those good decisions, right? And you know what? I was able to fight through that. And I think a lot of people, they kind of start up here and they kind of work their way down to the bottom of the U. They got motivation and it gets hard and it gets hard. And then they get here and there's not really a lot of results. And then they quit. And then they go right back up here and they just keep doing this over and over. And where it gets good is when you get to the other side of the U and maybe somebody says something, right? They say, hey, I noticed you lost some weight. They make a comment, and then your motivation just takes off and it goes to the roof. It's the same way with business. When you get that next paycheck, that's a lot bigger. You get some recognition, or you get something that gives you some validity to things you've been doing, and all of a sudden you take back off. The problem is most people quit right here, right? They make all these resolutions a month ago, and 90% of them, they've been done for weeks. Nothing ever happened because it got hard. They couldn't stay committed and they quit. So that's the very first thing that all of you on this call can do. If you want to be successful this year, make decisions. Don't make resolutions, make a decision, stick to that. Understand you got to have the discipline and the accountability to get through all that. Okay. And that's really what sets the tone for what you're going to do going forward and how successful you're going to be in 2021. So I want to just kind of like start there. The other things that you guys can do that are very intentional: surround yourselves with the right people. Get the negative people out of your life. I can't stand to be around negative people. All these people on this call right now, and I know somebody may be thinking, where's Joseph? Joseph's still part of CWC. He's working live events. He's working workshops. He's kind of working on some things behind the scenes, but he's in my circle because he's that kind of person. So is Greg. So is Justin, Allie, Brad, all these people. You need people in your life that will inspire you and lift you up. I did a video, I don't know, a week or two ago, posted it on, I think, Facebook and maybe LinkedIn, where me and my wife, we're driving, we're headed out of town, and a funeral procession is coming towards us. In Alabama, we still pull over and we let them go by. It's the respectful thing to do. We let them go by. Some places do that, some places don't. We do that. And they're driving by, and then of course the hearse is the last one. And as they're driving by, I'm thinking about that whole procession going to the gravesite. And there's going to be 6 pallbearers that lift that person up and put them in their grave, right? Why do we wait until the end of our life to allow people to lift us up and help us, do what we need to do at that time? Why don't we do that now? Why don't we surround ourselves with people who can lift us up and be a better version of who we are today, right? Those are some intentional things that you can do. So it's not always about, closing more business or starting the conversation off this way or using this tactic, or a lot of the things that, we get into the nuts and bolts about. A lot of times it's just the basics of the way you think, who you're around, and the choices you make. And I'm a firm believer that you choose to be happy. I think you wake up every day and you make conscious effort to be happy, and you don't let things get you down. You don't let other people or entities or companies or situations put you in a place where you get down about things. I think you choose to be happy with all the things that are going on around you that are within your control. So, be where your feet are. You've heard me say that many times. You got to be where your feet are. You got to apply yourself and give 100% to that moment, whether it's a call like this, training, you're at home, you're on a date. Give 100% to wherever you are, for whatever you're doing, so that everything else in your life gets that same amount of attention. That's where all the good things happen. And obviously what we're trying to do, it's all about training. It's all about, helping you. It's about making you a better version of yourself today than yesterday, and hopefully tomorrow than today. And we just continue down that path. And that's what I want this call to be about, is like, what are the intentional things that we can do every day to make that happen? So I'm going to start getting everybody else involved in this call. Like I said, I got Brad Bearden's with me. He's here in the office today. I've known Brad for a long time. Some of you met him in Birmingham a couple of years ago. He was the keynote speaker. Atlanta. A couple of years ago, he was the keynote speaker, and did a great job. Really good response, to his message. So I want to talk with him a little bit. He's joined our team. He joined last month, already adding a ton of value, and I'm really excited about the things he's going to be able to do to help you and your team in terms of sales and marketing and that type of thing. So let's just talk for just a few minutes, Brad, about your background, what you did, where you came from. If you can kind of let everybody know a little bit about that, then we can kind of get into some of the other things in terms of what you can do to help them.
Yeah, brother. Well, first, it's great to be here. It's my first time on a call with your entire organization, but I've got to know a lot of you behind the scenes. I've seen a lot of the stuff and a lot of stuff that you've been doing with them and supporting them. It's an incredible organization. I have an extensive background. I won't bore you with all the details of it, but the background started in poverty and then in brokenness. My business journey started when after 4.5 years of spending in prison. My first claim to fame was making America's Dumbest Criminals. That's a true story. I was there. I hold that plaque dearly.
Yep.
Found out very quickly. Found out very quickly. I tried to steal a couple of cases of cold Bud Light without having the funds to do so. And in doing that, I decided to do so from a grocery store that shared the parking lot with a police station. And in my grand scheme plan, I left the keys of the getaway car to the on the cash register. So I ran outside, couldn't get into the car. It's a long story. Anyways, unfortunately, had a season in my life where I had to pay for that mistake. Came out homeless, had nothing, no family to lean on. Literally had an officer from that camp that I was released from drive me to a halfway house in Birmingham, Alabama, drop me off, and I started my entrepreneur journey. There's a lot of ups and downs in that. Thereafter, after some ups and some downs, became a full-time single dad of twin girls. They were 9 months old at the time. I'm a proud dad of 4 now, and a 5th one on the way. And at that point, when the girls were 9 months old, I had a very challenging time in my life where I had to figure out how to make things work. And I was starting my very first business, and I had no credit. My credit score was below a 500. I had no money. I had no guarantors. I had nobody to co-sign. I had nothing, but I wanted to start a personal training business. And so I went around and trying to get a commercial real estate lease. And I don't know if you know anything about, well, a lot of people on this call would know about commercial real estate, but try to go get a lease with below a 500 credit score, much less not having any money, no one to co-sign. You've got your work cut out for you. It was hundreds of no's, hundreds of doors slammed in the face, hundreds of calls not responded to, not returned. Humiliating, humbling. Finally, I got that one yes, one person that took a chance on me. And I started learning a lot about, they gave me 3 months free rent to figure it out and waive the requirement to have a credit check in the first and last months down of the lease. But I gave that man my word I was going to make it work. To make it work, just like you, I had to have customers. I had to have clients. I had to sell. So I had to learn how to do that. And I didn't have any financial means of doing it. So I had to figure it out myself. And that came down to learning websites, SEO, direct response marketing, learning it all myself, figuring it out and making it work. 18 months later, after starting that, I'd done my first $1.2 million. And in that process, I learned that I wasn't necessarily passionate about the personal training industry as a career. I was more passionate about systemizing operations, marketing, and sales. Like that's what I love. So I started consulting other small businesses. And I ended up exiting that business with a successful exit, that personal training business, went into consulting small businesses. That led to consulting nationally recognized franchises. That worked out really, really well. And that got me on the map and started a couple of companies, some agencies off that. And then I had the opportunity I was recruited by the #1 direct response marketer in the world, Frank Kern, and became his chief marketing officer. And I served as his CMO for 2 years and served a couple of thousand clients in 42 different countries in every single different vertical that you could imagine. And in that 2 years, I made more connections and gained more insight than you could possibly imagine. I mean, it's one thing to be successful in one industry and one vertical. It's a whole nother thing to not only be successful or help other companies become successful in thousands of different verticals, but also in 42 different countries where the economics are different. The social aspects are different. How people interact and exchange information and commerce is different. And so it really, really grew my skill set. After a couple of years, I resigned and started an agency, which I just recently exited within the past 6 months for an 8-figure exit.
And to be clear, when you say an agency, you're talking about an advertising agency.
Yes, advertising
not insurance agency.
No. Great point. So, but I did have my greatest big win, right? It was to have an 8-figure exit. I don't care if you've been in business for 50 years, like that's a great milestone to enjoy. And so after that, I kind of found myself bored for a while. I was like, all right, I've checked a lot of boxes. And to be honest, a lot of my drive originally, I would love to sit here and say, oh, it was all about giving back and serving people and making a difference. And that stuff's important. And I know a whole lot of motivational speakers will tell you, just, make an impact. I just wanted to prove everyone wrong. Like, that's it. I had a chip on my shoulder, had something to prove. I'm not this failure. I'm not this person that's just going to spend my life only doing what someone else told me I could do, or only becoming what someone said I could become. I'm going to win, and I'm going to win big. And so I had this chip on my shoulder, this drive, and I did it. And it felt great. I ain't gonna lie to you. People say, "Oh, I finally did it," and then I was like, "Oh, I'm not. It's not what I thought." Yes, it is. It's fantastic. It's great. However, I sat around and I was getting a little bored because I've made some investments in properties and real estate, and that's great and all. It's wonderful for my kids and building my legacy, but it's not like I'm not interacting. I'm not doing something. And so Craig's been a great friend of mine for quite a while now, and I've known a lot about his coaching, his organization. We had some conversations on some little side projects I could help him on. And the more I learned about what you're doing, it really aligned with what I feel like my next mission in life is. And probably, I would say maybe my greatest passion other than being a father. And that's helping the small guy win big. Like that's the one thing that makes me come alive. Right. I may not know everything specifically about the end. Like, if you ask me how to write a policy, I'm going to tell you to talk to Allie. She's got you. Or talk to Craig. All right.
Not me. You're going to struggle if you ask me.
But if you want to know how to win, you want to know how to grow a company, grow an organization. You want to know what, like Craig just talked about. It's one thing to make these big decisions. Like, hey, I want to everyone in my agency, everyone in my company, I want them writing 100 items a month or more. Fantastic. It's great to have these macro goals. It's great to have a vision board, right? Put your Ferrari up there, put your lake house up there, your beach home, or these places. That's wonderful to have macro goals, but macro goals aren't only there for a minute. It's the micro, the small things, the small commitments that you do every day that make those macro goals an actual reality. And so after a lot of talk, that's what we decided. It's like, hey, man, this is a great opportunity for me to partner with Craig, come into the organization and add as much value to help coaching and training your people on not only how to acquire more clients, but how to, what's the proper mindset they have to have on a daily basis? What's the checks and balances? Not just like this rah-rah, but no, what do we need to do today? What's the boxes I need to check? What's the things that need to happen? What do I need to execute on? What do I need to measure? How do I hold myself accountable? How do I hold my team accountable? How to actually do these things on a day-to-day basis so that you can grow your company to whatever it is that you truly envision it to. So it no longer becomes a vision board, it becomes your actual life. And so here I am.
And he's got a little bit of energy, right? And tomorrow, is our first Wednesday live training with he's going to be on. Him and Allie and myself are going to be on that call. And it's all going to be about the roadmap to Century Club. How do you get these? Because people talk about this all the time. And we give out awards, all the time. We're constantly sending these awards out. But there's so many people that for whatever reason, they don't think they can do it. They hadn't done it yet. They don't think it's achievable. They don't think it's possible. We're going to start to break down what does it take? What do you actually have to do? And what he's talking about, on the micro level, it's one thing to say, I'm going to hit Century Club and make that a goal. And a lot of people have been able to do that. And that's great. And we highly encourage that and recognize folks for it. But I want more people to learn more about that. And even if it doesn't work out, if you're doing more than you're doing today, it's still a good thing. So I'm really excited to have Brad as part of the team. He's going to add a lot of value. We're going to do a lot of projects and a lot of things with him to incorporate him into our training. And I think he brings a lot to the table that sometimes being outside the industry has some value in terms of maybe having us look at things with a little bit different perspective, because we get so ingrained to our way of doing things. He's done a great job. He's done a great job on the marketing side and the sales side and really helping people get to that next level, and he's been through a lot too in his life, so he can apply a lot of those things. And I just think he's going to be a great resource. And I'm really looking forward to him being a part of what we're doing on an ongoing basis and helping with a lot of things, and motivation, as well as the nuts and bolts of what it actually takes to be successful. So I'm glad you're here, tickled to death about it. And now I want to talk to Allie a little bit and have her talk about some of the specific things that we're doing going forward to help you guys and make sure that we're providing the support and the resources from a training perspective and programs to deliver on the things that we're talking about right now. Not just ideas, not just, big picture stuff, but like what are some of the things we're doing, what are we putting in place to help you in 2021? So Allie, if you want to talk about that for a few minutes, that'd be great.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm super excited about all the goodness that we are adding to the CWC program on top of what was already available to all of our members. So first thing first, I do want to say that out on the website, there is a calendar. So if you're ever thinking to yourself, oh, well, when is Allie's next new team member live training? You can go out there and check it out. Now, it's typically booked probably maybe 6 weeks in advance. So April, may not already be out there. But the reason why it's not that far in advance is because these classes are for you guys, right? So there's all kinds of classes we're going to be offering. And so somebody may say, this is an urgent situation for what we're facing in the industry right now. So we might throw in a webinar or something. And so we kind of leave advanced planning a little bit open for some flexibility based on current trends within the market. But for the most part, for my new hire training, you should be able to see when that's going to be so you can make plans for your agency. But the new team member training is basically how to be a good employee. It's getting a lot of positive feedback. People are loving it. So I would love to have your new team members on that. So check the calendar out for all we have going on, but just a little recap of some really awesome things. One thing that we are piloting is called Allie on Demand, and there's only 5 spots left. So if you want to be in it, you're going to have to shoot me an email and let me know you're interested. And it's Allison, ALISON @CraigWigginsCoaching.com. But basically what the Allie on Demand program is going to do for members is you're going to be able to have your staff or even yourself shoot me quick emails about stuff that you cannot seem to find the correct support department, or maybe the support department exists, but the hold times are 45 minutes. And so my job will be not only to help you find the answer, but to train you and your staff on how to be more self-sufficient so that the next time you need an answer about, are raccoons covered? Is this tree in my driveway, how is that handled? You're not having to wait for 2 days for a claims adjuster to answer you. I can show you how to interpret a policy jacket. So that's what the Allie on Demand program is about. Wednesday live training is coming back, and I know a lot of you are so excited. And so it's going to be really good. We are going to obviously do the typical role play, but we are also going to change it up. We're going to do different subjects that we feel like are really important. It's definitely geared towards staff, but owners will get a lot out of it. We encourage you to participate. I'm not as pretty as Joseph, but I really hope I can bring the energy that he brings. Brad is telling me I need Amazon Prime subscription, a monster on the level he's on. So that's first on my to-do list when we get off here, but Brad will be on them, Craig will be on. Wednesday live trainings are coming back, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy those. In addition to that, we also have monthly live trainings just for owners. So I believe is it next Tuesday? I think it's the 16th. It's on the calendar. There will be a deep dive into DASH reports. And so I know that is an all-state specific reporting system, but if you're with a different company and you want a deep dive on something on your intranet or your internal workings, tell me. I literally, this whole webinar was developed because of a couple agents asking for further clarification. You are why we exist. Feedback is critical. Ideas are critical. So we'll keep up with owner training as well. Motivational Mondays with Brad. So that's going to be a new thing we're going to start because I think it's important, just like Craig said, to always have a positive mindset. The other day I was at an emergency doctor thing, and he goes, "I hope you're okay." And so I replied back, I go, "Well, most people get this in their 50s because I'm an overachiever. I got it at 41." And he goes, "I'm sorry, I'm laughing." I'm like, I mean, what else can you do? It's another pill bottle in the purse. It is what it is, right? There's nothing you can do, but it's just all about I'm just glad to be alive. If something happens and I got to take it, great, but I'm just glad to be alive. And so I think the Motivational Mondays are a fantastic way to start off our week. If you have not registered, registration has not gone out yet for this, but it will be coming. February 24th and 25th, mark your calendars, CWC Live, because we can't go to Vegas, unfortunately. So this is the next best thing till we're there. So make sure you have booked out your day to be on CWC Live. And then Also, our upper levels have been full, but we have decided to open up a couple of spots. So coaching is still full, but we have decided to open up 8 mentoring spots and 3 inner circle spots with Craig. So I do have somebody on the hook for the mentoring program, so we may be down to 7. But if that is something that you are interested in taking your training to another level, by all means, email me or Craig, and we'd be happy to go over the benefits of that program. But all of the stuff I just went over is available to every level of membership. And that is what is so great about this, is that you don't only have the plug and play content, which, by the way, there will be new, fresh content. We're reorganizing some stuff. 2021 is just going to be better. But again, keep suggestions coming if there's something out there that you want and you can't find. And then again, if you want to take your consulting, coaching, mentoring to another level, we are going to open up a couple spots. We don't want to let too many people in, because we don't want to disappoint anybody by not being have appointments available. And then I'm super excited about this. We're going to have monthly classes with Greg and Justin. So I am all about stealing some of my best ideas from people. These are 2 of them. So I love being surrounded by rock stars and people that just make me want to be better, or as Greg says, but so if you surround yourself with people, that it's kind of like hiring to your weakness, right? So if you know that you're not as salesy as you should be, hang out with somebody who's salesier, so you can pick up on their language. If you're kind of like an Eeyore and you need a little spunk in your life, hang out with the Tigger. Like, you have to have those people. And so these are 2 people I definitely admire, and I am so stoked that they will be joining the live training team. So thank you all for being here, and I'm excited about 2021.
And thanks so much, Allie. And before we talk with Justin and and Greg, just real quick, Allie's done an amazing job, and the feedback we've got from her on her classes and the things that she's doing with our members, it's just fantastic. She does everything high class, the high level, and really proud of what she's been able to accomplish. And she was promoted her position a few weeks ago within our company, and just adding a ton of value every day. So you definitely want to take advantage of all these things that she's talking about when it comes to the training that we've got coming up. And, part of that is Justin and Greg. What these guys are going to do going forward, and I'll let them talk about it in a little more detail, is every month they're going to teach a class. If you're an owner, you're watching this, and there's something out there that you specialize in that you would like to share, you'd like to be part of what we're doing, reach out to me and let me know. I want to incorporate as many people as I can to cover as much as possible, so that every month we've got things going on that really appeal to what people need. And both of these guys have some niches that are high value and a lot of need. Greg's going to be focused mainly on centers of influence and building relationships with mortgage companies and realtors. Justin's going to be focused on new hires, especially in a remote environment. He's done a fantastic job with that. So there's a lot of people that need that. Some of you don't, and that's fine. If you're not interested in that, you don't want to join the call, that's fine. But we're trying to deliver as much as we can where I see people really need more help. So let's start with Greg real quick. Greg, I know everybody on this call, I'm pretty sure they all know. If they don't, maybe give a little background on yourself, and then just talk about what you're going to be covering in your class that you do. And by the way, guys, all this stuff we're talking about will be on our calendar of events on the website. So if you're not really sure when things are happening, just go to the website, look at the calendar of events. Both of these guys, their classes will be on there really soon. But Greg, just open it up with just a little bit of background about yourself and what you're going to be covering in your monthly class.
Yeah, thanks, Craig, and thanks for having me part of the team. It's an honor to be able to speak to everybody here. My background is I started scratch in 2007 and built the business organically to about $13 million in premium, and then we did a couple acquisitions in 2018 and actually almost doubled our agency size. We've got 4 locations, and we have about 17 total salespeople and customer service and processors in our organization. And one of the ways that we actually grew our business organically was, through centers of influence. Those of you that have seen me speak before in Atlanta, or when we went to Las Vegas, the core principle is to be able to build those relationships around people that you want to do business with. And anytime you have a team that pulls together from the realtor to the lender, to the bank, to the inspector, all those different niches can be filled by showing up, doing the things that you say that you're going to do, being professional and adding value. The same thing that we're going to do on your platform here is we're going to add value. We're going to talk about some of the things that, you know, I did early on in my career that I've actually taught my team to be able to replicate, because it's got the lowest cost of acquisition. It only takes a lot of elbow grease, and all you have to do is apply every single day doing the same consistent process, and it'll bear a lot of fruit down the road. So, you know, join us when that platform comes out for that class. We'll have it up, you know, inside the website. Once we get that scheduled, we're gonna have to limit it to a certain amount of people just because we want to stay really, really focused and narrow. But it's going to be a great way for those of you that might be new to the business, or who just might be seasoned and really need some more opportunity because maybe internet leads aren't working or direct mail isn't working any longer. The center of influence is a very, very good way to be able to grow your business, not only profitably, but to have customers long-term, because we tend to focus on the home buyer that's going to have a home, 2 cars, possibly a boat. And of course, leading with liability is the key to our success. So that's what I have to offer in the modules that we present. If you do have questions and answers, we're going to answer during those periods of time in the dialogue. So a lot of the things that we actually do inside this course are going to help you grow your business, and you'll see some growth, you know, during the next 12 months. And it's going to be a fantastic 2021.
Very good, man. And for those of you who don't know Greg, he's done just a really, really good job building his business around, you know, that thing. You know, so many people get so caught up in leads and warm transfers and buying this and buying that. And there, in every community around the country, there's this huge opportunity, you know, to drive business through centers of influence. And a lot of people just don't know how. How do you do it? How do you stay compliant with it? You know, how do you actually make this work where it's worth your time? And how do you get started? All the different things that come with that. So I'm excited that he's going to spend his time, that hour is going to be devoted to that, you know, every month, you know, to help people on that part of the business, and make sure that they're doing everything they can to. That's how I built my book. I started from scratch as well, and really got to about $10 million before I spent any money on any of this stuff. And it was all through centers of influence. And of course, a lot of those things, they change through the years. You know, you got to do different things. But Greg's done a great job with that. So I'm excited to have him as part of what we're doing. He's a great friend. And I think he's going to add a lot of value to help with that. So thanks so much, man. I look forward to it. Justin's going to be talking about something totally different. We've been friends, not quite as long as Greg and I, but still been friends for a while. Great guy, just shares a lot of the same values that we have here, and has been a part of CWC for a while. Justin is going to focus mainly on new hires. Allie is obviously teaching the class that your new hires can attend and learn about what they need to do to get on board the right way and be successful. But a lot of times people just need that extra help with, you know, how do I actually get that person? And then what do I do to set them up for success, especially if I'm trying to do it remotely? Justin's done a really good job of that all over the country, setting people up to do business remotely and do it at a very high level. Had people that are reaching very high levels of production, you know, states away from where his office is located. So Justin, why don't you do the same thing as Greg? Just give a little bit of your background, and then talk maybe a little more specifically about what it is you're going to be teaching and what people can benefit from your class.
Perfect. So I started in 2011. Scratch bought back then it was still called Scratch if you bought 700,000. So I did buy a $700,000 agency, started Scratch, started growing, and today we've grown into where we've purchased or merged, I think, 12 locations into 6 standing locations today. Back in 11 and 12, we could merge. That seemed to go away for a while, but hopefully it's back. And I think that'll be a good reason to get on a call like this with us. The reason I started doing the remote position about 4 or 5 years ago was I was running out of real estate space. I could hire people and get all that, but I just didn't have anywhere to set them. And I'm kind of like Craig, where I like you to have your own space. I've never been good at having 10 people in one office and trying to have everybody talk over everybody. So one of my staff came to me. She was one of the best. She got pregnant, didn't know how she got pregnant, all that kind of stuff and all that. So she said, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do, because we live in small towns where we're at. So waiting list for a daycare is 6 months at minimum. So if you're going to get into a daycare around here, it's going to be 6 months at least. And so she's just bawling her eyes out. And I said, you know what, we'll just try it from home. So we put her at home. And it was the best decision I've ever made. She got to spend more time with her kiddo pretty early on. And she is now our sales assistant. And she has been the only sales assistant since that day 4 or 5 years ago. And she handles almost 700 to 800 items a month. And so it's a lot for her to take that on, but she's very appreciative of the position. She can do whatever she needs to do. There's no more commute. Her commute was an hour each way every day. So you lose that stress altogether. And I really think that's why this position is a good position for a lot of agencies to at least look at or consider. Some of your high rent districts, California, New York, things like that, where it's just costs so much to have square footage within your agency to put somebody in. So if you do have somebody that could work in that position, you could try it. Now, I will tell you, there's a lot of people that cannot work from home. I won't sugarcoat that at all. And really quick within the first week or two, you're chasing them. I had to have the cops go check on somebody one time in California. Like, he just wasn't responding for 3 days. I thought he passed away or something. I didn't know what happened. So he had quit and hadn't told me. So it was just one of those things. So you're going to have situations like that, but I really hope to be able to help. I talk to a lot of people every day about different things, just how I've purchased books over the years, things like that. I think that I've always been doing, trying to help people. And now Craig's given me an opportunity to just get on his platform and be able to share this with you guys that are in the membership or in the program altogether, about how I've done a few things that have worked for me that maybe you won't have to second guess or learn by mistake.
And Justin's done an amazing job. I can remember talking to him, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, whatever, on the phone, and where he was at that time to what he's doing now. It's just amazing. So you're talking about someone who's taken action and really not been afraid to go out there and make things happen. And now, like you said, he's helping a lot of folks. So, and look, even if you don't have the desire to hire somebody remotely, I mean, just think about how hard it is to bring somebody on when they're in your building. If somebody can do it remotely, then there's certainly a lot of things that you could learn by doing it when you have them in the same building as yourself. So I think there's going to be a lot of value from what he's doing as well. And I'm just looking forward to both of these guys being able to jump in here and add value every month, do it consistently, again, where it's on the calendar, and make it a part of what we do. Going back really quick to what Ali was talking about on the virtual live event. I'm like her, I'd love to be in Vegas, this month. I wish that it would have happened, but it's first of all, I'm not so sure right now is a great time because a lot of people are really hesitant about traveling anyways, but Vegas just lowered their requirements in terms of what you could have in a building. There's just no way you can't get the group that we have in there to make it work. So that's why we're going to do something virtual, because I just think it's important that we share ideas and we do what we can. Both those days, I'm pretty sure the time is 10 to 4 Central Time on the 24th and 25th. You can kind of pick and choose. Once you see the agenda and once you see what the topics are, if you don't want to attend all of it, I get it. You're working in the office. You may or may not want them or want your entire team to be on every bit of it, and that's fine. But we're just trying to add value. All these things we're talking about today is what can we do to try to fill that gap? Because it seems like there's a pretty significant gap in just about all the carriers that we work with when it comes to really training people on things outside of just barely being able to get on the system and process something. We're trying to go much further than that. What else can we do? So that's really what that is all about. Ali, are you monitoring the Q&A? Do we have any questions that we can talk about?
Great question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the first one is for you, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. But if you wanted to add anything else, somebody said, what's the 411 on Vegas?
Well, hey, look, the 411 on Vegas is come September, it's going to be a freaking party. We're going to have, we're going to go all out on this one, guys. I want to get back together with everybody so bad. Some of you may have seen on the TYA page where I'm trying to put together some other trips, some replacement trips for the trips that were canceled this year.
You just want to show off a Slim Shady of a body you got going on.
Look, when you lose some weight, it does make you a little more outgoing. I'm not gonna lie about that. But we want to get together with everybody. We hadn't done that in so long, and I'm trying to do that. So I should have that information later this week. And for those of you that don't know, Allstate canceled their trips. Everybody canceled their trips this year. All the companies, I'm pretty sure they did. And I'm like, why? Well, we can go on our own. We don't have to go through them. So, we're looking at a couple sites. One is in Mexico, one is in Utah, and I should have all that information later this week. I'll get that out and share it. We'd love for everybody to come and just have a good time hanging out with each other. That's what we're going to do in Vegas. It's going to be a great time, a great team building event, a great place to share ideas and learn from each other. And just have some fun, and be able to enjoy everybody's company and everything that goes along with that. These events have always been, some of my favorite times of the year. we're going to do it again. If you guys have never been to one before, you definitely want to try to make this one. It's going to be the best one yet. We got Tao rented out for Friday night, the nightclub there. If you've never been there, that is a great party. We did it in 2018, I think, and it was awesome. So really looking forward to that. You'll hear more and more about that as we get closer, but that's going to be a good time. You definitely don't want to miss that for sure. What else you got, Allie?
The next one I'll take, it's, so we had some people who probably didn't hear your explanation, but people are asking, where's Joseph? I feel like it's like, where's Waldo? Joseph is alive and well. He is working on a project. He's also got some dreams of his own. He's working on some things. So he wanted to have a little bit more flexibility in his time. So he's working on some projects. You will see him February 24th, 25th at the live event. He will be front and center, but he's probably on a Peloton somewhere. But he's doing great. So as far as coaching and consulting though, so he can focus on the project, I took over his mentoring and coaching clients. And then if for some reason I happen to get overbooked, Craig will gladly step in and help out because I'll be training a lot of the live classes. But if you just shoot me an email, I'll reply back. There's a hyperlink below my signature line where you can just schedule, super easy. So Joseph is great. And then let's see here. Okay, this one is about class registrations. So they're emailed out the week before to all active CWC members. So that is where you will register your staff. Some of them will only go to owners only, so that at their discretion, they can decide if they want their staff to participate in certain materials. Some might go to all members only. Some of the live training events will be for all team members. Some will be for owners only. Some will be for owners and key staff. So we will be very specific as to who the content applies to. So you're not registering people for wrong classes and they get totally overwhelmed with information that doesn't apply to them. However, people are super excited about Greg and Justin's classes, and I don't know their schedule. So what is the 411 on that?
Yeah, we'll get together and make sure that it works. We just finalized this a couple of days ago. So just pay attention to the calendar of events for that, and we'll get it all out there. Hopefully we can get both of them on the books for the month of February and get rolling. Trying to make sure it doesn't interfere with all the other things that we've got going on, but just pay attention to the calendar of events. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me directly or to Allie, any of us, and we'll help you any way that we can. What else do we have on here, Allie? I'm looking, I know there's a bunch of questions on here. So
all of the sessions will be recorded moving forward. We understand that you can't always take time out of your agency. So I'm going to put those up on the website and the platform that if you happen to miss it live, you can rewatch it. So look for that. There's a lot of questions for Joseph about the work from home and sales assistant, or not Joseph. See, he's on our mind. He's here. For Justin. So, is that something that you want to get into on this call, or do you want to wait for his training session?
Yeah, I seen one of those questions asked, what does a sales assistant do? We were having a lot of trouble as we were growing and we tried to mass produce items. We were letting everybody do their own TDocs and things like that. And as you know, the majority of salespeople they just cannot stand admin. They do not want to chase that TDoc. They don't want anything to do with a deck page or what have you. So Angela had actually come to me about that, and she was very upset. And I said, you know what? Why don't you just do it all? Let's just see if we can make this work. And so when we use Agency Zoom, so as soon as they upload it into Agency Zoom, she gets that email, her process starts. So she's going to make sure that my account has been signed, TDocs are being followed up with. Now we do require, if they declared anything, that it's in eAgent. So all she has to do is look in eAgent, grab it. They're not allowed to bind without that. So, and that's something that maybe I can jump in with Allie one day on the onboarding. If she ever wants to do a class on that, I can touch on that. And we could even bring Angela in on it and just explain what she does all day, because she's got a checklist for them. So as soon as they do their Agency Zoom portion, they have a checklist. They have to make sure everything's been checked on that, and they send it to her because she wants to know the company that they're with, what's their policy numbers, all that, so she can make sure they get canceled out. And it's been a fantastic position for me. At first, it was very apprehensive because we only had 4 or 5 salespeople, and I just thought it was a waste of money to hire somebody to do that. it was probably the best decision I've ever done as we've grown, because she probably at that time wasn't as overwhelmed as she is today, but it allowed her more time to get ready for the day. That I think the biggest month we've had so far was 815 items, and she didn't cry one time. So it was a good thing.
That is
Hope
awesome.
that helps.
Yeah, I'll touch on that just a little bit because, there's a lot of staff on the call and they're like, yeah, I want one of those assistants.
Me
We
too.
started doing that a few years ago, but you had to qualify to get it, meaning that you had to do 70 items or more 2 months in a row or hit Century Club to qualify to get an assistant. Because if you're writing, 33 items a month, do you really need an assistant? In our organization, that wasn't appropriate because you had time to do those other things. So our thought was, let's free these people up to really run and do the things at a high level, but you had to qualify to get there. And I don't know if Justin looks at it that way or not. I'm sure he'll get into a lot of that in this training that he's going to be doing. But that's the way we view it, to make sure that, we're getting the right resources to the right people. If you're already maximizing your time and you're already crushing it, let's make sure that you can do more of that. But I would tell you guys, if you haven't looked at that, if you hadn't thought about that, it just goes along the whole lines of specializing everything that you do. When you have people that are working at a certain rate, and they're doing work that's well below that rate, meaning you could hire somebody at a lower dollar per hour rate to do that work, go do that. Don't keep making them do that and say, well, it's just part of their job to earn their commitment. If you can seriously go hire somebody and take that off their plate so they can now, Beth, I think her best month is 221 items, something like that. She never would be able to make that happen if it wasn't for her assistant freeing up the time so she can get back on the phone and actually sell. So that's a great idea and something to really think about. If you guys haven't done that already, how could you incorporate that kind of position? And one other thing is that those people a lot of times evolve into somebody else that you can use in your organization. We've had some people that start off as assistants and they either they went into sales or they went into service and did something beyond that. So sometimes you can hire somebody that maybe doesn't have a license, but really wants to get into the business, and you can put them in that role and they can really see what it's about. And maybe they get licensed along the way and, they turn into something else and do something much more than what they first thought. So anyways, good stuff. What else you got, Allie?
So this is kind of a generic one. I'm going to kind of wrap some of them together, but let's say I'm either a new agent and I'm just trying to figure out how to catch my breath, or maybe I've been an agent for a long time and I need a restart. I need a rejuvenation, and anyone else can take this call. But basically the general question is, where do I start? So anybody can jump in and take that. But if you've just not really been active as an owner in your agency and you're ready to re-engage and get your staff engaged using the CWC program, where do you recommend they start to charge their career again?
Yeah, well, I'll take that and I'll let you chime in, Greg. I think
I was just going to say, in my humble opinion, I think that we talked about processes and consistency. I think, in my agency, every single morning, my team has to watch 2 modules in the morning. And it's important to make sure that they follow through and you do role playing and you listen to calls, because that single change to my business, I think when we started, when we were talking about this, it seems like 4 years ago or 5 years ago now, that single one process of listening to calls changed my entire business. So I didn't mean to step on your toes there.
No, you're good.
I think for us, that was the game changer.
Here's the thing, guys. When you're trying to like reinvent the agency, the owner, you got to own that leadership responsibility of truly trying to make people get better, and that you've got to lead the way with that. I think what you can do, the first place, if I'm starting from scratch, I'm like, how do I dive back into this to make it work? Go to the owner section of the platform and start watching that content on hiring and leading your team, coaching your team, those types of things. Even if you don't feel like you're the best at that right now, and a lot of people are not, that's fine. You will get better. You will evolve just like your people do. But I think it starts there. You really got to have a servant's heart and truly want your people to accomplish the things that they're trying to accomplish in order for your agency to be successful. And when you start to put those things first, it's like, hey, what can I do? Like all the people that are on this team, if I can make sure that they accomplish what they want to accomplish, then the whole company will get to where we want to go. And it's the same way with the agency. So you should be having these conversations. For the staff listening to this, watching this, you should be talking to the owner. Like, hey, what's really important? You share that with them. You guys talk about that. Don't just do a vision board and have a little party one day and that's the end of it. Like, let's come up with plans to make that happen. What can we do to execute so that those things become reality? You know, we've had several people in this building that have bought their first house in the past couple of years, things that they never thought was going to happen. But we were able to work with them and show them, look, if you do these things, and not just from a production perspective, but like, what are the specific things every day we've got to do, right? So to me, I agree with Greg. Listening to calls is definitely, that's like the foundation of coaching and development. But I just think as an owner, as a leader, you really got to step up in terms of what it is you truly want to see from your team. And if you pay more attention to what they need to accomplish specifically in their lives than you do your own, or maybe even the agency, it's all going to come back. It all works hand in hand. So that's what I would say is like, maybe just kind of take a step back and think about how much time have you really spent working with your team to make sure you know what's important to them. How serious are you about helping them make that happen for themselves? If that hasn't happened for you, if you haven't taken a serious role in that, that's a great place to start, because that's really where all the magic happens. When we all know we're working together to try to accomplish something and that each side cares, that's when things really get good. That's when you can really work on things specifically each day to make that happen. So that's where I would start. I would just kind of have that mentality about it, jump into the owner section, learn all the, the nuts and bolts and specifics, but try to go forward with that type of mindset that my goal, whatever the goals are from your company or even your agency goals, that's important. But your real goal ought to be, what can I do to make sure all of my people get to where they want to go? And if I do that, collectively, then my company, my agency, we're going to do great. Chances are those two things are going to intersect and we're going to be in a good spot. So that's what I would say. I would start there.
I would also add in this call as an example of one of the first things that you want to do is we've been behind the scenes putting together a lot of content and a lot of structure around the live trainings that are going to be there, right? And the live trainings, the content itself is, I think, going to be very helpful. However, winning, period, is contagious, right? It's very difficult to be on an island all by yourself, sitting there watching videos and trying to make it all work. Even if the topic of the live call isn't necessarily something that you think that you need at that point, I would urge you to get onto all of the live calls if it's nothing more than just for the Q&A time, right? To get there and say, hey, and engage with the other people that are winning, the other people that are leading their organizations, the other people that are actually doing what you're doing on an everyday basis, and see how they engage. I promise you that winning as a whole in every aspect of life is contagious. So get as close to the people that are doing it as you possibly can. Those live calls, they're there for you, right? Just make it. And also for your team, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to require my team to watch 2 videos every morning. But if they don't see you actually engaging in video training yourself, there could be some disconnect there, right? You always want to a certain extent, lead by example. So if they see you also engaging in these video trainings, they see you in the live training, they see you engaging with other owners, I think that sets a precedent of what's expected by the example that they're setting.
No question about that. You know what? And a lot of people need to hear that, to be honest with you. A lot of people, they think, let's just do this. Let's turn them over to this program and everything's going to take care of itself. And will they see some improvement? Yeah, they'll learn some things. They'll pick some things up. But man, when you get involved and they know that you're involved and you're truly making this a part of, the overall goal to improve and to develop, it changes everything. You just got to be willing to commit that amount of time to make that happen and prioritize that. And when you do, that's, like I said, that's where all the magic occurs. So he's spot on. No question about it.
So as far as making the time goes, just to reiterate, the calendar on the website, craigwigginscoaching.com, is constantly being updated with future classes, but February's is out there. The week before, we will email the registration information. It may go to all members. It may only go to owners. It will depend on the content, but make sure your junk filters don't have us going to spam. But it is out there for you to sort of pre-book. So as soon as we as a team have decided like this date definitely works for these 2 people or this one, like we're booking it onto the website. So it's constantly being updated, but February's is definitely on there. And I'm getting a lot of questions and I love how excited you guys are about, can Greg tell me this? Can Justin tell me this? Can Brad tell me this? And it's amazing. But contrary to every other day, I'm not wearing my pajamas today, so we can't do this all night. So you're going to have to join another class. And the great news is tomorrow, Brad is going to be on our live training, and we're going to carry this momentum forward. So Craig, I'll let you speak to that just a little bit and wrap us up.
Yeah, look, I appreciate all the enthusiasm and really appreciate all the support. Just personally, this has probably been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life, and just to work with all the people and develop relationships, not just like with all these people, but just all the people that are in our group, and to see them and hear from them. So keep your comments coming, keep your emails coming, the text. It's very motivating for me and for us to know, that we're having this kind of impact. So I really appreciate you guys being a part of what we're doing. And yes, you're going to be able to register for all these things. Please give us your suggestions. If we're doing something from a process perspective, it's like, man, there's a better way to do that. Let us know. And we will do everything we can to make that happen. The calendar, we can email that out every month ahead of time, just kind of like show you what the slots are. Some of the topics may or may not be filled depending on what's going on during that month and what we're hearing from our members, but things like that we can do. The class tomorrow, guys, if you hadn't signed up for that, yes, you'll still be able to sign up for that. You'll get a registration link. We'll send that out to both the owners and the staff. Allie will take care of that. You can get registered for that. It's going to be a great class. We're going to start talking about what can we do specifically to get to Century Club. What do we need to do to make that happen? Beth is also going to be involved in a lot more of these classes as well. I talked with her about that recently, and she's going to start sharing more and more about what she does. So, we're just going to like peel back every layer of the onion to get down to where it really matters and what you need to learn, to be successful. So I'm really excited about it. And I appreciate all you guys being on the call today. I know we got a ton of questions and Allie couldn't get to all of them. But feel free to reach out, email me, text me, hit me up on Facebook. Same thing for Allie. You'll get to learn more about Brad and learn more about him and what he can do. And I'm telling you, he brings a lot to the table from a marketing perspective and a sales perspective that can help you in your business. Just some things that we've done over the past few weeks with CWC and what he's been able to help us with. It's been phenomenal. And I'm just really excited about, Justin and Greg adding in what they're going to be doing and really focusing on those specific topics. Sometimes it's hard to build content around something like that and fill up an hour just on that. These guys are going to be able to do it and be able to do it in a frequency where, you get a lot of value from that. And again, like I said a little while ago, if anybody out there is watching this call, you're like, man, I'd like to do that. I like to share my ideas. I like to be able to help people, with something specific that you're doing at a high level. Reach out to me. Let's talk about that and see if we can help get you involved, because that's what we want to do. We want to help as many people as we can and get people to the level they're looking to achieve in 2021. So look, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for being on the call. Keep up your positive attitude. I know there's a lot of things going on out there in the world, but you know what? 150,000 people die every day, and we wasn't one of them, right? We're still here. We woke up. We're ready to go. And I think that's something to be thankful for, something to have some gratitude for. And let's go make the most of this opportunity. Let's not have any regrets or think back about why we didn't do this or why we didn't try that. Let's go do those things, and just take control of our situation. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the virtual event later on this month. If you need anything at all, reach out anytime. Definitely make sure you get signed up for Vegas. That's going to be amazing. I think we already have 600 people signed up for it already. It's going to be the biggest event we've ever done, and I expect it to get bigger and bigger. Hopefully they got the capacity for us when we all arrive down there. That's going to be a fun time. But thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you. I appreciate all these people on our team. Allie, Brad, Justin, Greg, Joseph, Tara. We've got a lot of people that are involved that do a lot of things to help, and just really excited about 2021. So thanks so much for being a part of the call today, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.